It might be time to get this hat back out. I got the hat back out. Helps with bedhead and the cooler weather, although it's like 8 degrees Canadian right now. And it's December 11, I think, or 12. Anyway, I was thinking about the impact of love and how I experience it. See this? This is driftwood. I like it. It's pretty cool. Shine some light on the subject. It's pretty cool. But I have the most beautiful picture of it that I feel really expresses it better of how it feels to have love in your life. The magic is the glow that it can cast, or does cast for me, on everything that's going on in my life. And things that are rough can seem less rough. And things that are great are just that much more great, with this beautiful, warm, golden glow that is love. And right now, I still feel that golden glow, even though there's been a big change. My hope of the one I hoped would be my life partner and I have parted ways. That journey has had to change, unfortunately. For 2 years, our life path was the same. For 2 years, I joined and lived inside of his life. I think maybe he didn't realize that I did that for a reason, and not because there was anything wrong with my life that I was trying to escape or avoid, but rather there was a lot going on with health changes in the parents. So I hit the pause button on my life, and I was able to afford to do so. I had some money in the bank. Which really would only account for, if I'm to be very honest, like one winter that I didn't come back out west and live in my RV, and get a job and all of that. But I did that for a reason, because it was needed, and it was, I thought, a support. But it wasn't that for him. So when I needed to get back to my life and getting myself sorted out and get some money coming in, and even though it's not like he was offering to take care of all that for me, right? But somehow still my going back to my pre-emergency mode life was taken somehow as I don't know if it was a slight or it was negative, but it was negative. I read something to a friend. I am living my own life out here, and I am quite happy with my life. I am content, and I have a life plan that, should I remain alone, does not terrify me. It excites me. I know that life will never be quite as amazing without the love that he brings. But I need him to be 100% in. Being with him will require some sacrifices, it will also bring benefits. I know that sensing his love is what makes my current life and my aloneness still really great, and I don't want to lose the love that we have. Right now, we are leading separate journeys, and we are in touch, and it's like waving to each other from the opposite side of a river. So I always feel his presence, and it gives me a sense of well-being knowing he's out there. I don't want to take this for granted and think that my life would be as good as it is without him being out there in the world thinking about me. That would be very foolish of me. What is obvious, though, is that I love the lifestyle I'm living, and I am quite content to spend long periods of time by myself with the dogs. There's one more thing that I will add, just in the vein of saying how you can't make someone love you. You can't make someone love you. You can't make someone see your value. And you also cannot make someone see that they're taking life for granted. People, it seems, have to lose things and experience regret. That's why, it was rough losing my Auntie Anne when I was 10. Rocked my world and made me terrified to ever love someone. I was like, I'm never getting married because I can't handle if they would die. And that was the impact of that death, because she was like a mother to me. I stayed with her for weeks on end. She potty trained me. I think when my mom was having some kind of a breakdown during the divorce, I ended up staying with my aunt. So it was devastating to lose her. And just the regrets, of, I wish I'd appreciated this more, or you only learn that when you've lost the opportunity. And it seems that you've got to lose someone to realize how short and precious life is. I value what I bring to the table, and it sure as heck ain't money. But I offered, my life, my experience, my support. I cared for his parents, and it was just seen as a financial transaction to him, which is so weird because it was below minimum wage. And sleepless 48 and 72 hour shifts where I was a wreck. It took me 2 days to even recover enough to get back up on my feet and see the light of day. So, initially, when the care level was minimal and could occur between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m., that was great. It would have been it was a great summer job at that time. Helped the family, helped me, and it was, because by 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I could go to bed, I could watch TV, I could relax, and wasn't, going to be on call again until about 6 in the morning. So when you consider I was getting paid under minimum wage for that portion of the day, it totally made sense that it was really fair. But as soon as it started going round the clock, things should have changed, really. And they didn't. And even when I got hurt on the job, I felt pretty abandoned, actually. I'd like to share that clip in its entirety about the Chris Williamson podcast. The lady who wrote the Queen's Code and the King's Code, or who let it download to her. And the question that was posed: how many women friends in your life, or how many women in your life would give you the amount of security of knowing that you've got one man looking out for you? Ooh, that one, it rings with truth. I've had friends that loved me quite dearly that passed on, and it's like sometimes the world just felt a little less safe. I think that is, attributed to our creaturely nature, because in terms of the realm of the soul and the spirit, hello crow, in terms of the soul and the spirit and the eternal, we are safe, and for the most part we just fail to perceive that. We fail to perceive this divine loving energy that surrounds us. It's the field. To some would call it the field. But I've felt it. When you can tap in and experience joy from simple things, it's like there's no needs in that moment. There's nothing missing. And I think that's when our soul is connected to God, to the field, to the universe, to however you describe it. And I think that love is the thread. It's our connection that links the animal to the field beyond. And the more we can live in love in our life versus fear, the better life we're going to have. And maybe be able to catch some of the mystery. The mystery. I do think that there is some injustice in that, what went on. I mean, I assumed I was family. I assumed it was obvious why I was doing it. I even said why I was doing it. I even said I would never go back to caregiving or nursing as a profession. I made that pretty clear a few times, but it didn't register, because I guess maybe that would have caused some discomfort if it did. That, well, then why are you doing it? Because I love you. Because I love you. And I want us to be a family. I mean, it's like 6 weeks of dog sitting. When Eric and Layla came back, Eric had this look on his face. Thank you. Because he knows to do that kind of support is, how do you actually say thank you for that? I knew he got it. That's all I need. I need for you to get that my contribution actually matters. That it's worth something and that it's not about money. It's so much more than money. And you know what? If you're not the kind of person to get that, maybe you just never will. But it meant a lot to me that he got it. And I don't bring it up. In fact, I'm going to do it again, but only for like almost 3 weeks. So after the summer, that seems pretty simple, you know, and there's great trade-offs for me, right? Like I'll make some pottery and I'll have running water for a while, and so it's all good. It's all good. But the fact that they get it matters. The fact that I thought life partner still doesn't get it, it matters. It matters. We're just, I think, built differently. And I don't think there's any overcoming that. And there's no use in pretending. You know? Like, what is the point of pretending? This is another topic, okay? Why would you pretend? In relation to being like insecure about yourself, and are people gonna like you, or are they gonna love you? What is the point of trying to please somebody? What is the point of trying to be something that goes against what you are, that you're going to build resentment over in time, right? Because this is what the friend and I were talking about, was that the pretending or the stretching of oneself beyond what's normal for you, it eventually leads to resentment. I honestly don't do that. I don't see the point. I mean, how you are, and I don't mean just like being like an unconscious autopilot dipshit asshole. And sometimes if we're on autopilot, we can be quite thoughtless, or, you know, you're just following your nose, you're following your next desire, you're following whatever. But the true you, what you like, what matters to you, how you actually wake up and like to have your mornings go, that plus you bring your thoughtfulness, you bring your consciousness of the other person, and you're caring about how the other person is experiencing life, experiencing the relationship. I don't think that to try to use kinder words, or for people who are not subtle at all, more direct words, I don't think that's changing somebody's fundamental nature. Like if somebody said to me, you know, when you asked me to take out the garbage, would you please just say, hey Joe, would you please take out the garbage for me? Rather than, aren't you going to take out the fucking garbage? See? Is that changing my fundamental nature? I don't think so. It's just realizing that since when can you just expect somebody else to be doing something. Like they should just know. In Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, he said that that's kind of one of the women things. Women kind of study each other, and I think that's true, to try and suss out how they're actually doing, because they're not generally as direct as men. And, you know, so there's an expectation that you should just know certain things. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's true. This is not going to happen ever again. I am not going to expect anyone to just know anything, male, female, or otherwise. I am going to just let them know. Duh. So I really tried to take the best aspects of what he described of male communication and combine it with the best aspects of what he described of female communication in the feminine way. And did that change who I am as a person? Like, it's growth. I mean, I look different than I did when I was 9 months old. I look different now than I did when I was 20. Got a lot more packing in the middle here, a lot more of a muffin top going on, but so to make allowances for people, especially if something matters to them, you know, that doesn't like go really against your morals, why wouldn't you want to do something that's going to really matter to the person that you say you love? Like, so I was all about that. Being conscious of the other, and not to please him so that he would love me, but to love him. To show him that the relationship comes as first, as equal to myself, to my well-being, the well-being of him, the well-being of the relationship, is equal to myself, is equal to family. Because, of course, if my children need me because they're in trouble, that is going to rise above the moment in the relationship. It's whoever needs you. It's kind of like when his parents needed care. They were the top priority, even for me. I didn't ask for anything from him until I asked to just go away for a weekend about 2 years into the relationship. I really hadn't asked. Well, no, that's not true. When we moved in together and it all became very routine, and suddenly, you know, he was just, on the night that I would come home, he'd be going out and I'm not invited. And I said, you know what, sharing a domestic life isn't that important to me, but keeping the spark alive, keeping the romance, keeping the love and the connection strong and the quality time strong is important to me. So I still want you to make time and make plans with me, and still we go on dates, even though we are sharing the same roof right now. And to his credit, he did. I really, and that gave me a lot of hope. But then it comes down to compatibility, doesn't it? If it's going to be a hard no, even though your partner is crushed, like, can we go away for our anniversary? No. Anyway, people that understand a sense of romance or doing special things will totally understand that. And those that don't, Probably never will. So I'm putting myself out there to meet my people. Who are my people on this planet? So that's the whole point of being authentic. Why would you pretend to be something or hide who you are? What are you thinking, that you'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 years into a relationship and then you can start being yourself suddenly and then the person will feel trapped with you and won't leave? Ooh, but why would you want that? Why would you want someone to be trapped with you? It's an interesting thing he said to me actually once. He thought that if I put in money, to a house, like even $20,000, I remember that was a figure. If I put in $20,000, that I would be less likely to leave. I'm sorry to hear that that's how you are. I'm sorry to hear that even what I consider a small amount of money, because to me that's not a lot of money. I don't have that money. If I had the money, I'd give him money, but I don't have it. So, not anymore anyway. But that small amount of money would actually keep you in a relationship that you're not happy. Life is too short to be miserable with someone. I mean, I've had a couple of very rough days, a lot of tears, and my head pounded all day yesterday, and even like my whole jaw, I think, was just so aching from, like, I think tension. But coming out here in nature, this is how I'm soothing myself, is to come out here and be in nature. Because the ocean, the waves, they go day in, day out, no matter what's going on in this crazy matrix. This whole, somehow it impresses upon me the whole, this too shall pass. And it will. I mean, the intensity of it. With any loss, grieving a loss, it comes and goes. And I know there'll be moments that I'll miss him for the rest of my life. Just like other loved ones who have passed away or passed out of my life, you know. There'll always be moments where I'll think of a special time that I had with them, and I might miss them at that moment. It's just like past loves. Now you and I, we're not children. We have both been loved before. We have given and we have taken many rides on troubled shores. Yeah, you know, we've been through it. I've always got through it. And there's very little I've experienced in my life that I have actually true regret, like I'd erase that experience. Because inevitably it's always brought something more. So I'll miss that beautiful soul. I'll always have love for that beautiful soul. Whew. I will not miss his suspicious mind. I will not miss that. And I don't think he can let it go. So it kind of came time to just deal with the elephant in the room, which was that he's never going to let go and love me fully. And because I don't know how to not do that, it's going to be heartbreaking and it'll just drain my soul. So as much as we love each other and enjoy each other, even a good portion of the time, what we want and what we need is different. There's not enough overlap, and I don't see a willingness to make that happen. Or maybe it's just there isn't the ability. I don't know. And there's nothing wrong with living like that if it works for you. It just doesn't work for me. I'd rather be free. I mean, I'm not super free. I still have a job. I still have to have a job. But I'm really fortunate that if I'm not well, that they understand. And they know that I'll be going in at 125% once I'm back on my feet, and it's a net positive on their end, I think, just because I'm so flexible. I'll leave early one day if I'm not feeling well, but I might work late the next 3 days. I might come in on a weekend when it's closed and catch up by time in lieu. That's my thing. So I'm taking that. I need to grieve a little more fully and intensely, at least for a few days, and give myself that rest. It's so beautiful here. So what are the takeaways? There's no point in pretending or trying to be something to please someone so that they will love you. You can't make someone love you. And when you do something for someone, they either look at you and you know they get it, or they don't. I don't know if there's any way, there's different kinds of people. I'm so curious, I wish I could understand him better. I just can't do it up close and personal as a life partner, obviously. But if I could understand better what money means, how does it translate into so much meaning? Maybe if he could understand how my life and soul energy is worth something. And it's so funny. This is really kind of funny. I'm gonna take a break here and I'm gonna come back to this. What's funny? So what would be funny is if a red pill, a young red pill, black pill kind of guy stumbled across this and actually had the wherewithal to get to this point in my video. Because I know what women over 30 are considered in that realm of the internet. Spoiled milk. And then, so I mean, I'm old. I'm old. I got wrinkles. I got a little bit of turkey neck going on. I'm chubby. I got a belly on me. I definitely don't look good in a bikini. You like, put something on. And, oh sure it bothers me. I would love to have my young body back, but truth is I don't care enough to actually make that happen. You gotta be honest. So sitting here past my expiry date is some well-spoiled milk. And then there would be those in the manosphere that would be like, she's got no money, she's living in an RV, she's homeless. She must be crazy, what the fuck? What the hell does she have to offer? How dare she have standards? Well, if that's true for you, that's true. But I was just thinking of just the irony lately. There's like been this weird juxtaposition. It's like a couple times now I've been actually in a parking lot, you know, making breakfast or whatever. I got groceries. I decided just to stay and make breakfast. And I'm like, I'm living my best life. Like, I had a moment where I'm like, I'm really living my best life. I'm truly pleased by a lot of the moments that I spend. I'm truly pleased by the simplicity of my RV and living in it, and I'm truly pleased by the portability of my life. How I can take the whole darn thing with me and just decide to come here for the day or more. How I can take my whole home with me and go and visit a friend. And that came up. I said I like having a house. That came up. So that's another one. That's another moment. Give me a sec. The dogs are gonna start barking because there's a person. Anyway, I carried a house and the overhead for so long, and it was a beautiful house. All the houses have been beautiful, but especially my last one. And the idea of having to carry that kind of overhead again makes me feel panicked. Having to carry overhead of any kind of a debt makes me feel panicked. I mean, other than if I could carry whatever it is, you know, making $1,000 a month, then it's okay. I love property, but I'm not that concerned about how large or how comfortable in terms of modern conveniences that my domicile, you know, represents. There they go. These guys, they are jerks. I'm quite happy with a simple cabin and being off the grid. I'd be happy with a wood stove and a wall tent. I'm happy in a little RV. I feel actually grateful to have so many comforts. But I would expect then, if a house is important to a life partner, I mean, I will certainly offset the cost of whatever I'm using, like electricity, I said I'll make it feel like home. I'll take care of it, help with the maintenance. I'll maintain the outside. I'll care for animals. Basically, I'll be a wife. I'll be a wife in a little more traditional sense. But to be in my 56th year and to have to think about how to come up with, like, that I'll just be working indefinitely to come up with expenses, you know, for the house. It just feels like an unnecessary burden. And if I was making enough money that I could still have my little jewels to look forward to, like, okay, I can go and live cheaply down in Mexico for a couple months of the year, or I can save and fly out to see my children. But the budget is limited on a fairly low income. And devoting over half of it to shelter is just not something I'm willing to do anymore. I realized that I don't need that fancy of a shelter in order to be happy. And in fact, having a movable shelter is, in a lot of ways, very ideal. So, there may be those that would consider I have nothing to offer, and that I should be glad that any man would even date me. But all I can say is, well, you're entitled to your beliefs and opinions and to live your life the way that best suits you. The things that I value are not those of this matrix world. I do value being responsible. I value the environment. Not at the expense of sanity, though. Like, I do like being able to cook with propane. I do like being able to have a campfire now and then. But what I value is connection, and as unconditional of love as love can be in this wacky matrix world we live in. That's what I value. And that's what I bring. Love, effort to understand so that I can better show up in love. That's what I bring. And that's worth a lot in my world. And that's what really matters. There's a song that always scared the crap out of me. I feel like I'm still learning to walk. The song that scared the crap out of me is called Bee's Wing. I think somehow, on some level, even though I was doing the responsible thing, going to school and getting a career, when I heard that song, probably the older version of myself knew something. You know, a person that I wasn't yet. And I even attributed the bee's wing to others that I knew and not me. But why did it scare me so much? Because there was some truth. It's a story song, and I'll get it going on the guitar at some point. I'll remember the chords, I'll learn how to play it, but the chorus is, she was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, and she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I will stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. And of course the song ends, you know, she's not in such good of a place. And the last I heard, she was sleeping rough down on the Derby beat. White was in her hip pocket and a wolfhound at her feet. They say her flower is faded now from hard weather and hard booze, but maybe that's just the price you pay for the change that you refuse. Whoa, I was like, ah. I think I promptly, oh no, I had a baby, you know, I had my daughter Layla, and I was in school, and I did the very best that I could to buy into the Matrix for as long as I could. But my dream was always to be in a cabin in the woods. And just like Henry David Thoreau pointed out in Walden, which I think got me thinking about all this, is that really all you need is to keep the vital heat within you. So, you know, warmth. You got to keep the warmth, the vital heat within you. So I wouldn't want to be living in a tent in a city street. God, no. And no, that's not happening, ever. But if I can keep the vital heat within me, it doesn't have to be fancy. A hard-top roof of sorts, or a yurt, not so hard, the roof. Thoreau also said, I would rather have a pumpkin all to myself than to be crowded on a velvet cushion. The chance to be free to still dream about doing things, having experiences. You know, I think of Sammy, who passed, you know, end of August, and she was 84? And I saw her in March down in Mexico. We had dinner together. Just how alive and interested and engaged she was in living. She didn't know she had leukemia at that time. But just, you know, she had planned to go back the following year and everything, so. Sammy. Oh, here go the dogs. Here goes the dogs. I think this is going to be a challenging one to grieve, because I'm already so used to missing him. Over the last 2 years of not having much time together at all. So this whole process, it's gonna come and go. For sure. Because I'm used to having lots of moments like this with one camping chair out. A little too used to it. I can't say that I hate it. Sometimes I wish there was someone with me. I hoped it would be him. And I would definitely buy an acreage in nature where I could run myself a little ecology camp. And, you know, for people who've had no experience with the simple living, who want to explore it in a way that isn't going to be massively uncomfortable for them. I'd love to have that. That's what I envision someday, having some land where I can do that and offer that. If you're also interested in that, drop me a line. I'd be into a cooperative thing. You know, have some little yurts with a wood stove. Everybody would learn their energy budget based on the weather. And they would realize, how many movies can I watch? Because it's been cloudy for 3 days. And you know what? You figure that out. I never had a problem. Although I did start doing some off-grid living at the end of March, which in Ontario was still dropping quite a few degrees below freezing at night. But I, on some level, just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It felt raw. It felt real. Everything I did during the day of gathering wood and preparing wood was so meaningful because I could have a fire in the evening that would keep me warm. Up to 16 degrees Canadian. And those cold nights made me think about that quote from Henry David Thoreau. I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately, to affront the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. And not when I came to die, discovered that I had not lived. I did not want to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to cut a broad swath and shave close, drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. And if it proved to be mean, then to know its meanness. And if it proved to be sublime, to know it by experience. Anyway, that's a slightly bastardized version of the quote of Henry David Thoreau that really, really impressed me as a young person. And dang, when it's below freezing and you're in a little 8x12 cabin with no heat and no electricity, I think you're about as close to driving life into a corner and reducing it to its lowest terms. I think the only closer thing would probably be doing it in a tent out in the snow. I think I'm past my tenting phase of life. It's gonna be a good day. Just wait and see. It's gonna be okay. 'Cause I'm okay with me. It's gotta be, as long as we're laughing out loud. Laugh like we're mad. It's the best beauty that we ever had. Something like that. Because what's love? Anyway, I'm going to remember that song too. Add that to the list of songs to remember. Good Day by Jewel. Note to self. Now that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. These crows have been kind of following me. It's a friendly vibe. I think crows and I really get along. And I love crows. You know, because they're like the survival bird. The bird that can find scraps and survive and even thrive. You know, I think of them as strength and versatility, resilience. Yeah, I feel them like in my soul. Oh my gosh, the crow found the crab that I placed near the water. Wow. Shoot, I hope they didn't go after the starfish. But what can you do? You can't control nature. You can't control someone's nature. You just have to learn about it and see if you can adapt. The Tao, which is learn the nature of it and adapt. This applies to humans, no? That crow, there the crow keeps, the crow keeping me company. I like them. Fully didn't expect to have any lighthearted moments today. So I am grateful. I learned to talk to crows and salamanders and snakes and spiders in all that time that I spent off-grid camping when I didn't have a dog. I talked to all the creatures of nature. I may have even spoken to a tree. I talk to the wind. My words are all carried away. I talk to the wind. The wind does not hear. The wind cannot hear. You don't possess me, don't impress me, just upset my mind. Can't instruct me or conduct me, just use up my time. That used to remind me of Anthony. I talk to the wind. My words are all carried away. I talk to the wind. The wind does not hear. Or does it? Maybe God hears. Maybe your guardian angels, your loved ones who have passed on here. Maybe your kindred spirits still on this earth who you have crazy connections to, like you'll dream about them and the next day they call. Maybe they hear. I talk. Didn't expect to feel good for even a moment today. I mean, it's dampened, of course. But I think sometimes the most you can expect is to be like feeling somewhat at peace. That things are as they should be. That things unfold in the way that they should. And that there is a lesson, no matter how painful the birth of that lesson, but there's a lesson around the corner. And that which is so painful right now, in years to come, you might end up saying you would never forego that experience because of everything it brought to your life after. Oh, that looks pretty. Oh, it's a pretty day. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn. I just had a moment. I found this piece of wood and I thought, oh, it kind of looks like a Christmas tree. Or I could make it, into something that looks like a Christmas tree. And then I thought about how, wow, it's been a long time that I used to find things on the beach and I would save them for him. So, having a moment. I suppose I could still send him beach things, but I don't think that would be very fair. Yep. You shouldn't steal from someone, You should let them go and find their own way, their own life. Look at that. I love this. This is cool. And I became so obsessed with wood and touch wood because of Jim Baldwin. He's got that piece of wood on his dashboard of his car that looks like a perfectly smooth beach stone. And it's smooth and almost polished from how many times he's, touch wood. He's still got it. I saw him in 2020 and he's still got it. And in fact, that's when I remembered that it was him that got me onto the whole thing. Touch wood, keep a piece on your dashboard. It's funny how people can become a part of you. You may not even remember who gave it to you. I'm glad I remembered though. If you're still here, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Do you have any wisdom to share? Please share. And yeah, just thanks.